Let's ride. Unified leadership. Light that flame, turn it up loud, remember the name. Unified leadership. Power and pride, we don't just talk, we testify. Unified leadership. Hard and grind, purpose and rhythm, perfectly timed. Bass hit heavy, croppers and rhythm, purpose and rhythm, perfectly timed. Bass hit heavy, crowd on sway. Culture, clay, truth and play. Sifu, Rafael, calm control, leaders in sync. Hearts of gold, focus sharp, the mission clear. Every step forward, silence the fear. Discipline, dripping, confidence, how we move together, we amplify. Who we are, unified. What we lead, unified. Stand tall, unified. Every time, unified leadership. Raise that bar, leaders in rhythm, born to spar. Raise that bar, leaders in rhythm, born to spar. Steady and true, the sound of the few that follow new. Strong alive, this is the beat where leaders thrive. Unified leadership.
We need some kids dancing to this, you know, and bopping and moving and shaking it up and doing some good things.
Yes.
Good morning. Happy
Good
Friday,
morning.
my friend.
Yes. Great Friday. Great Friday, man. And I always have to say, bro, like, that's a banger right there, man. I've yet to hear anyone say to me that they don't like that jam. So again, man, great pick, brother. Great pick, man. It's awesome.
I love today's topic, by the way, right? Leadership in the age of transformation, voice, and technology.
Yes.
And we have some incredible guests. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and bring in Kevin, Renee, Jaclyn. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Woo.
So what'd you all think of that song?
It's great. Fantastic.
Did you see me dancing?
I was ready to stand up and go for it.
Yes.
And being in my 70s, that's a real trip.
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
So when I said earlier about having some teenagers dancing to that, I know they would do a great honor to that song if they really put their heart into it. And so today we're talking about leadership in the age of transformation. And when I say teens, they're truly transforming into our leaders, if we will, right? Can we talk about transformation, if you guys don't mind?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good, I'm listening.
Go ahead, Jaclyn.
Well, I was just actually going to say, today with technology and our voices, leaders truly need to amplify their voice, and how we say things truly matters. And with technology, and I feel like I've talked about this a lot recently, you can't have a bot think for you. You can't have a bot be your voice. You always still have to be your own voice. And we don't want to forget that. We want to remember that we need to have our own thoughts. We need to be able to read books. We need to be able to still, always be educating and always be learning. And to have influence, we have to lead by example. So if we're showing what we're doing or they're seeing what we're using, if we can always say that we are still thinking first and using our voice, and they see how we use our voice, great, we can create an impact.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
one of the things I really agree with what Jaclyn just said. In addition to that, I think we need to recognize that we are at a point of change that is very different than the changes that most of us have experienced over the last whatever period of time we've been around. And specifically what I mean is that if we look at the history of planet Earth, we had the Neolithic Revolution, which was a very disruptive situation where, this is 10,000 years ago, where we went towards, actually being able to grow things and having gardens and all that kind of good stuff. And then we had the Industrial Revolution, which just occurred in the 1800s and early 1900s, which disrupted jobs. It changed the way we do our work. It, changed everything. And people lost their jobs. They had to go in new directions. And now we have the technology revolution that is occurring. And but the difference is the Neolithic occurred over about 2,000 years. The industrial occurred over about a century. And now we're going through a revolution that probably is going to be over the next, well, we've already started it, probably the next anywhere from 5 to 20 years. And it's going to be even more disruptive than what we've experienced before. And what that means is that as leaders, we need to step forward and help people manage that process and to get through it. Because it's going to require people that have principles, people that have vision, and people that have, be able to reflect and engage with the population. So just some initial thoughts that I wanted to share.
I'd like to add to those powerful points that both you and Jaclyn said, that but transformation for me is also moments of growth.
Yeah.
When I think about transformation, sometimes we think, technology goes so quickly. It changes almost every day. I look at my phone devices and sometimes it's uncomfortable. I think sometimes as individuals, we don't give ourselves that same grace. If technology is transforming and we need to understand, adjust, and understand who we're becoming with it and grow with it, what is our transformation that we're allowing ourselves to go through as we identify who we are alongside that growth in the transformation with technology?
Yeah, very true.
That's a great point.
It's like I say, right? Measure, monitor, adjust. MMA. We have to be measure, monitoring, and adjusting ourselves in that age. And as we're thinking about this great change, and Kevin, I thought that was brilliant because it's so true. This technology age it's rapid. It's not so, it's not that long period. But one of the things that as leaders we also have to be able to, and Renee, as you were saying, think and be able to dream and vision and realize that there are going to be positions and jobs and careers that we don't know yet what those are going to be, because there's new things coming and there's opportunities out there that we don't know yet. And so I think that's one of the big things that I keep thinking about as a mom of an 18-year-old who's about to head off to college in August and who has a daughter in college. Like, what does the future look like for jobs for them and what they can be doing? And I always say, we have to be creative. Don't get stuck in something. Like, don't label yourself. Always be able to think differently or to try to think outside the box. You could create a new position or you could create something. And as leaders, we have to help the youth think differently, because more things are going to come out that we don't even know yet.
Absolutely agree with you. I mean, I think that the essence of what I think you were saying is also, we as, if you want to be a leader in this new world that we're facing, you need to be curious,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to be observant, and you need to be patient at the same time. So being curious, observant, and patient simultaneously is a difficult task. It's not easy to do all three at the same time.
Right.
But then you need to combine those observations with the courage to step forward when a change that is disruptive, harmful, difficult, etc., that there's ways to manage that pathway and to help individuals, help the people that work with you to figure out what that pathway is and to work around it.
Kevin, I love your points on being curious and observant and patient. And Jaclyn, the piece about thinking, that theme is coming up frequently.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my challenge to both of you, or question to you, would be, how do we amplify the importance of that in a workforce or a world that is used to going at warp speed? Everything is fast, 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 fast. And with that, there's this mindset of everything has to be at the snap of your fingers. And thinking is not necessarily prioritized or celebrated. It's how quick can you react and respond?
You know, I the first thing when you're saying that, Renee, the first thing that's coming to mind is we have to remind everybody we have to go slow to go fast, right? You have to be able to slow down, and you have to think about, you know, to me, if somebody ever comes to me like, we want that, we want speed, we want that. Think about I feel like it's every book, right? Whether it's the 5 a.m. Club or it's the Atomic Habits or 10X, name the book about, you know, whatever. And one of the key things that they all say, or so many of them say, is you need to actually have time to rest, to get your brain to think, so that you can actually let the creative juices flow. And it's so important for us. And it's the same thing, like, you know, how do we go faster? Well, you got to slow down and you got to think.
I'm gonna jump on that before anybody else does, because you made me think. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they talked about think about showering, right? I rather hang out with people who shower every day than once a month. So I'm just saying, right? So think about this. Sleep is showering for your brain.
Oh, yes.
Sleep is cleaning out, making everything flow, because your brain actually needs that. It needs to be cleansed. You talked about creative juices. Those are the juices that are flowing and getting all the toxins out of your brain. Because guess how many toxins we put into our brain every single day? And the only way we can avoid to get all those toxins if we stay in a cave and don't come out, right? But the world is going to be throwing stuff at us, and the processes that we go through are creating all these toxins in our brain. So sleep is the only thing that will allow you to wash them out. So that, I just wanted to jump in on that. And yes, I do want to hang out with people who shower daily.
Me too.
So it sounds to me like you actually are a neurologist, because that's exactly what neurologists would tell you as well. So I want to add to the conversation though. So one of the elements that I think is so essential, and particularly in today's world, is that we as individuals, we as a group, we as a nation, we as participants in this world that we live in, need to be very clear about what our purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
If we are clear about our purpose, it helps to define where we put our energies, how we relate to the world, the changes that we want to make, how we're going to address the changes that are coming at us. So I think that that's something that a lot of people, really haven't sat down and said, what is my purpose? What am I trying to do with the life that I have in this world? Because when I wake up from my sleep where I've washed my brain, I need to have that focus. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It does. That's exactly what I was thinking. Just, yeah, I was just on the phone with my wife. She's on her way to her parents, about 4.5 hours away. And I told her, I said, babe, sometimes it's hard to focus. As much as we read, as much as we try our best to stay consistent, life is so real, but at the same time so short. And I'm listening to you, Jaclyn, in terms of how we help the youth. I'll be honest with you, the youth is helping us in a lot of ways too.
Yeah.
Because they're like sponges. They're always looking for how to move things forward. And I say that particularly because I deal with a lot of youth, and a lot of the youth that I deal with, or speak with, consult with, I tell them all the time, what you do in your teens will show in your 20s. It's the inevitable. It's going to show. What you do in your 20s is going to show in your 30s. You said it, Mr. Kevin. You're in your 70s. Think back to your 60s, things that you actually did.
Yeah.
That right now is that full, no doubt, manifestation. And I believe that's all of it. So the transformation, I agree with you, Kevin, so much. And I can only speak for T.O. Clay. I've transformed every 3 years for a long time as I look back over the last 2 decades. As a United States Marine. Every 3 years, we have to transform again. You have to show up to the next duty station. You have to prove yourself. You have to, figure out the outfit in which you're leading. And it's never easy. But the consistency of the internal, I think, is so important. Back to, like Jackie said, we can't let the technology solely do everything for us.
Right.
We really can't. I saw a video yesterday of these robots out in China running like they were running a marathon. I don't know if some of you saw that.
Yeah.
They had the sneakers on, and you could hear them patting on the ground. And I showed my baby boy 12 that we were just talking about, Keaton. I said, "Have you seen this, son?" He was like, "Oh yeah, they have some that jump hurdles. They have some that do all sorts of stuff, Dad." And he just went in about it. I was just sitting there like, blew my mind. So the world's moving. It's moving at a rapid, but
Very rapid.
Very rapid. Yeah.
I will say I'd be happy to have a robot run a marathon for me, because my knees won't like it any longer. So if I could do that, that would be really fun. But if I could get the benefits of it, great. Like, you run for me and save my knees, perfect.
I got to say, Coach Teal, one of the things is that at one point you transformed to become a leader. And once you decided I'm going to be a leader, you continue to upgrade yourself. And when you think about upgrading, because today's topic is about transformation, voice, technology, and the last part of that is influence. So every time you transform to be a better leader, you're influencing those who are behind you, and not in a negative way that they're behind you. They haven't caught up to where you are. And your goal as a leader, and I know that you do this, is to keep bringing people up to your level. But you can't stay at your level, because you need to grow further to continue to bring them, right?
Absolutely.
You may meet somebody who's 10 years behind, but they're not going to catch up to where you are today. But you're going to give them the steps to eventually catch up to where you are. And they may catch up to where you are, and it won't take them 10 years because of the knowledge you accumulated. It may take them 3 years instead of 10, because now you know how to do it better, because you failed so many times, just like I failed so many times. So if I'm teaching somebody, I'm teaching them not to do the mistakes I made. And sometimes, guess what? I want them to make the mistakes I made so they can get it. Because if everything is sugar coated, they'll never know what failure is, and they will never know adversity, and they won't know discipline. They won't know what it takes to truly become a real leader. So your influence continuously grows. And so therefore, yes, thank you for your service. I know you served 23 years. Holy moly, that's a long time, my brother. But here's the thing, you're still serving. You're still going and doing talks for the youth. You're going and you're speaking at all these different events, and you're helping and you're guiding people along the way. And this goes for Jaclyn and Renee and Kevin, and including me, because I think all of us are here as leaders who understand the value of what we've accomplished, but we don't let it stay there. We continue to grow. Kevin, you guys are probably going to see this backwards. I couldn't get my camera. Kevin wrote this book, right, on the persistence factor. Kevin, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about the persistence factor, because if you think about, you cannot be a great leader if you don't continue to persist and continue to grow.
Absolutely. So the persistence factor really is the end result of sort of my experiences over time. One of the things I did as a leader within the healthcare industry is that I probably read and have most of the books that have ever been written on persistence. And the reason I have all those books is that I really felt like if I was going to make the changes that I saw in the future, that it was going to require that I be persistent in pursuing those particular changes. Matter of fact, just yesterday, I'll give you a little anecdote. Yesterday, I rediscovered, if you will, an editorial that I wrote in 1976 when I was president of the American Medical Student Association about lacidum, which is medical spelled backwards. And I talked about the land of lacidum, where people living in rural areas didn't have access to care. And the reason they didn't have access to care is that yada, yada, yada. So that is front and center as an issue in today's world, okay? So that's how I started in persistence. Now, the book really is the result of like 4 years of thinking about this and trying to put it all together. And really, it's fairly simple, because one of the problems that I saw with all these books on persistence is that they were filled with anecdotes, but there was no framework. There was no like, well, how do I go about this process called persistence? So that's where purpose comes in, because purpose is the first part, the first thing that needs to be considered. If you have a clear purpose, then you can make a difference. I want to be an effective leader in the Marines. I want to make healthcare better. I want to do whatever people want to do. So what's your purpose in life? And it can change over time. It's not a static kind of thing. You know, it evolves through learning. The second thing that needs to then happen is that you need to consider the resources that need to be put together to help make that purpose a reality. And that means reaching out to people, being fair with them, being consistent with them, and having relationships. And then you need to commit resources to make your mission happen. And you need to allocate, and you usually can't do it by yourself. Usually if your mission is clear, you're going to need other people to help you. So you got to figure out what motivates them to be moving along in the same commitment level that you are. And then you need to focus your time and energy with the people that you've mobilized so that you actually work on that effort together. And then once you've had some experience and results of that, assess your results and figure out, how did we do? what could we have done differently? What are the successes and failures that we have experienced as a result of pursuing that purpose? And then you come to integrating that. So taking those successes and failures and saying, well, okay, what do we need to change to make them dissipate or enhance and grow? Which brings you back to your purpose, because you might have to modify your purpose just a little bit. You might have to change it so that you can continue the cycle. And so persistence is really going through that cycle continuously. And I think that is, at least in my experience, has been sort of the framework that I've used sort of accidentally, throughout my life. And I decided to put it down on paper.
I got to say, you had everybody question their age when you said in 1976 I wrote this paper. Because some of the people here were going, wait a minute, I wasn't even born yet. And he wrote this important paper, or this paper to give this insights. But it's not about when something was written. I mean, congratulations that you wrote it back 50 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's the context, it's what's in it. And it's actually even the persistence of saying, I'm going to follow through and do so, right? And you talk about your life's work, and I think it's beautiful that you are persistent even today, because your persistence got you into a new room today,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for that, you would have been with a lot of noise and a lot of different things. And it's about the way we show up, I think, with persistence.
It is about the way we show up, and that's what I call the fair consistency and transparency model. And what I mean by that is that you have to be fair, you have to be have an attitude that is embracing, if you will, of the people working with you. You have to have integrity with the people you work with, and you have to have respect for their participation in the work that you do. And if you have that fair, then you have to be consistent and transparent. And so I really believe that having those values is an important foundation, if you will, for this cycle that I talked about.
Nice.
It makes me feel so good because I was actually born in 1976, August 10th to be exact. So I'm pushing the 50 come August. And just to put it in perspective, that's the real light bulb lesson for me, because you, Kevin, are here right now. You're here. You're still transforming like the Transformers, like, Bumblebee, he's a car and then boom, he flies off. And the things that you're saying, laxism, medical backwards, a clear purpose makes a difference. It evolves through learning, reaching out, relationships, being fair, allocate, delegate, focus time and energy, work the effort together, assess, success and failures, be fair, again, integrity in the people that you're working with. That's leadership. That's why we all, starting with Sifu all the way around the horn, back to you, Kevin. That's why we're here. We're still sharpening the blade. We still love leadership. We still want to do it the old-fashioned way of integrity, doing things right. It's not all me. It's no I in team. All the different things that we can read in all the marvelous books throughout the world. But you wrote a book in 1976. And now here in 2026, you sit and you're still pursuing that same transformational journey. And your voice is loud and clear today. So I just wanted to get that out there and tell you, thank you, Kevin, because you're a leader that I will follow. Because one, you've been there, you've done that. You've seen the highs and the lows. You did the success and failure. You know what was screwed up. You know who fell off the chopping block. You know who didn't believe in the vision, but you're still standing. You're still here. And that's why I think, that last aspect of it, the influence, is so vital, because we could think that we're influencing, but we're really not.
Yeah.
We could think that it's about the money, but it's more about the influence, and the influence brings the money. So it's so many different ways to look at it. But we're leadership junkies, Kevin, Renee, Jaclyn. We're real
That's
leadership junkies. So
You are
this is it.
you are so right on that, Tio. We are leadership junkies, and
Yes.
I just think about the purpose. I kept having Kevin. You said that so many times. Purpose, and we can't escape our purpose. There are times when we try to hide it and we try to cover it up, but our purpose is our purpose. And when we're in conversations like this, it helps to transform. It helps to solidify. It helps to validate why
Yes.
we're here, what we're meant to do. And so if you have that foundation of your purpose and your values, that's your core. And all the other pieces add to it. Failure is not one that I used to embrace, but now I look forward to how am I failing today? Because I know that there is learning and growth on the other side of it. And it's something that I'll never forget. So that failure helps to validate my purpose every single day.
Yeah.
Let me just jump in.
If I may, just 1 second. I know you, Renee, and you don't say, hey, I want to fail today.
No.
Mhm.
I know that, right? That's not something you're saying like, hey, I want to fail. It's more of, if I did fail, what do I learn from it? So that I
Yes.
just wanted to say that.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Kevin.
Renee, I was going to add, there's a quote that is in my book from Dennis Waitley, who's a thought leader in this space. And he said, failure should be our teacher, not our undertaker.
Mm.
Failure is delay, not defeat. And that's exactly in a different way what you were saying. And I think that's so important to recognize that and to embrace failure.
Right.
I mean,
That's it. That's
I
it,
can't
man.
tell you how many times I failed.
I almost feel like we should change the word. I mean, it's like can we get rid of the word, right?
Yeah.
It's instead of saying failure, we say I've learned. I learned.
Yeah.
It was a lesson, right?
Right.
It's falling. Oh, I'm falling, or change it to a different. Again, it's a lesson that I've learned, and then
It's a learnings.
Mhm.
right, and when we change the word and we don't say failure, we say learning. It also changes the way it
Good point.
resonates in our brain, right? Failure is sort of negative. Lessons learning is more positive. So we're always learning. We're all works in progress. Sifu says, right, getting better every day, right? So we're all getting better every single day, and I think that's actually one of the things that I think that we, as humans, and one of the things that we always need to remember in this age of technology, whether it's our phones or AI, we do have this, which is our voice, our actual voice, and we need to use it, and we need to use it where we go, so that whether it's the grocery store or in business, remember that we are also humans, and humans like connection and to build relationships. And when you're out, talk to people, say hello, use your voice. It's amazing, what impact just a hi, how are you, and a smile can do to somebody, because we want connection. And so, as you're talking about, like, I think for, being persistent in using our voice, use that voice, because we will have a greater impact and influence on others in a positive way.
Mm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love the fact that you talked about failure and making it learning. Think about a toddler.
Right.
A toddler does not know failure.
Mhm.
Why? because they see other people succeeding and they want to succeed. So a toddler will get up, fall down. It doesn't go, oh, I failed. I'm never going to get up again.
Right.
It continues to get up. It falls on its face. It falls sideways. It falls. But it continues looking at people and going, why are you walking? I want to do that too. So they don't understand failure. All they understand is that I need to keep doing it. Eventually, I will succeed. And if we can look at leadership that way, that don't give up because it didn't succeed, you were a failure today. There's always tomorrow. There's an hour from now. There's next week. I gotta continue. And also, we as adults and leaders, we also have to sometimes say, hey, you know what? That fully did not work the way I expected it. So let me see if there's a different way to tackle that situation. What's the outcome I really want? Because we sometimes close up or clam up because of a little failure. And leaders cannot do that. Because leaders have to lead from every angle, from the front, from the back, from the side, from the top, and from the bottom. So real leaders truly understand, like a toddler, I don't give up. I learn, I move on.
So I want to, if I could, Sifu, I want to share a quick story.
Absolutely.
When I was 7 years old, we lived on a farm in Nebraska. And my family and my grandfather and my great-grandfather had lived in this homesteaded property that we had. And it came time for harvest. And at harvest time, the family all comes together and we all work together to manage the harvest, including 7-year-olds. Everybody had a job. My job was to sit in the combine and take my little shovel and push the grain into the middle so that it didn't, fall over the sides. Now, I think that would have happened anyway. As a 7-year-old, I'm thinking they didn't really need me, but I had a job. And it's like, how you doing, Kev? I'm doing fine. I'm doing my work, shoveling away. Well, on this particular day, we went out, we started harvest, and we were doing really well. The grain that year was going to be really incredible. And on the horizon, there appeared this solid black line. And over the course of the next hour, that black line grew and grew and grew until it took over the entire horizon. And all of a sudden there was lightning and I'll never forget, I think it was my uncle said, we got to go in. And so we did. We abandoned the combine. We got down to the barn. And as we got down to the barn, which was only about a quarter of a mile away, all of a sudden, little drops of ice started falling out of the sky. And we ran to the house and we stood on the porch. And I'll never forget that little balls of ice turned into big balls of ice. It was like the most incredible hailstorm I've ever experienced in my life. And I'll never forget, I was standing there holding my dad's hand, and there was total silence. Total silence. And then the storm stopped. And we looked out at the wheat field, and it was flat. There was no grain left. And my dad said, I'll never forget this. Well, I guess we should get on with the rest of our life. And that's where I think the persistence came from. Well, I should get on with the rest of my life. And what's the lessons learned? Well, he learned a lot from that experience. And he did. He moved in and did other kinds of things. But he learned from that experience that you got to continue to work hard and take and embrace those experiences to solve problems. So sort of an anecdote that sort of typifies where persistence comes from.
It's awesome.
Wow,
That's
that's a powerful story. Thank you for sharing
Really
that.
powerful.
I wanna share something with you guys. Take a look.
Unified leadership.
This is what we do, man. This is what we live. This is our calling. And you walk away with a working document, something that you could hold, that's intangible, that you could utilize, man, wherever you are on the journey. This is not for one specific element. This is for real leaders to grow that leadership acumen, to be better in the home, be better in your community, be better in your workspace, be better in your organization, your teams, man.
If you feel you have no value after day one, we'll give you your money back.
Indeed. 100%, bro.
That's how we stand behind what we believe in.
Unified leadership. Raise that bar, leaders in rhythm, born to spar. Raise that bar, leaders in rhythm, born to spar. Steady and true, the sound of the few that follow new. Strong alive, this is the beat where leaders thrive. Unified leadership.
Unified leadership.
Yes.
Coming May 15th through the 17th.
I thought that was Giovanni for a second. In that one frame, gentleman sitting at the edge of the table, I thought it was Giovanni. Man.
That's Jaclyn is the one that's writing on her at the table.
Yeah.
That's an image of Jaclyn who was writing at the New York City Experience when we had it last in New York.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So let's talk about voice for a moment, right?
Yeah.
How important is your voice in transformation? How important is your inner voice in transformation? And how important is your voice to help others transform?
Your voice is critical. It's your power, and it starts from within. It starts being grounded and understanding who you are, understanding what your purpose is. Because if you operate from a place of saying what you think others want to hear, if you speak from what I think they want to know, eventually that's going to create this misalignment within yourself, and you're not going to show up in the way that you want to. And when you make that decision that I want to show up who I am authentically, and you see yourself that way, that's when your voice shifts and matches your value, and you show up authentically as the leader that you are.
Love that. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with Renee, and I also think that voice is an element of our persona that needs to understand who we're talking to, who we're working with, and understanding where they're at, and how do we bridge any differences that may exist, both in terms of where we're trying to go or what we're trying to do. So I agree that voice is absolutely important, but being able to connect your voice, if you will, is another part of that element. And that means that you have to understand those around you and embrace them.
I love that you said that. Go ahead, Jaclyn.
No, I was just going to say our voice, for us to move forward, our voice and the words we say to ourselves are so important. That inner voice, what do we tell ourselves every day? What do we say to other people?
Yeah.
And people think when you think about, whether you're talking about manifesting something or being kind to ourselves, right? We have to be able to speak positively to ourselves to move. When we have to get rid of negative thoughts. All those things change how we show up every single day. So how do you greet yourself in the morning? Are you smiling? How are you showing up to the other people? It can change how somebody else sees you and how you see yourself, and the way you say yourself. It starts with you and the words that you say to yourself. So we really have to make sure that the voice we say to ourselves is a strong, powerful, positive voice.
I have to say that I love that, Kevin, you said that we have to connect it, right? And I think the connection also has to come with some truth
Yeah.
because we have to believe what we're saying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The conviction has to be there. Am I telling myself a lie? Now I'm telling it to other people. Or am I telling myself the truth, learning to understand my own truth so that I can share the truth with people? And remember, not everybody wants to hear the truth.
Mm.
That's right.
A lot of people want to be cuddled, right? Or they want to be told what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. And so for us to be honest with other people, we have to believe that the truth is going to what? Set them free.
Mhm.
Because the truth will set you free. The problem is there's pain behind it. Some people don't want to deal with the pain.
That's right.
Reality sometimes hurts.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I tell my fiance all the time, and it's kind of funny. I say to her in jest, I said, love hurts. Honey. Love because we're all
Yeah.
about always messing around. So sometimes I'll say to her, love hurts. And she looks at me and laughs, because it's about being honest with one another,
That's right.
whether it's in a personal relationship or a business relationship. If we're lying to one another, we're not connecting our true voice with our message or our mission. And,
Yeah.
and Coach Teo, you know the importance of truth in a mission.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, man. It's the light, man. We say it all the time. We say it every day. The light and on the light within. Let your light shine, that others may see your great works. It's a real thing. And the truth aspect of it, it was said at the top of the episode, the inner you or the inner us per se. And all the amazing, beautiful people that stopped by to listen to us today. Unified leadership, from Brother Emilio Roman, Michael Duffy, Angeline, so many others. They know if they wherever they came in to this episode, if they listen for 5 minutes, they could hear it. They could feel that truth. They could feel the passion. This is not a game. We don't come on here 8:30 in the morning to powder our nose per se. We're here as leaders that once this stream ends, we are on full display in leadership in everything that we do. We strive to do. So when I think of the transformation, when I think of the voice, when I think of technology, when I think of influence, hearing Brother Kevin say persistence, I think about the great William, uh, uh, a gentleman I know back home. His name is William Owens. I grew up around him, and it, still to this day, every time I think of him, I think of a man who's really persistent. And being able to speak with him specifically on persistence. How do you do it, brother? Because I need a little bit of that. Give me some of that understanding. And he put it to me quite simple. He said, it's like anything else in life. The Lord persistently is the Lord for us. And when I think of that, like persistently, the Lord is the Lord for us. And I'm grateful. And Winston Churchill said it, man. Success is failure to failure without losing momentum. So when you look at that correlation of that momentum and persistence, it's essentially the same thing. And we fail and we fail. And like Jackie said, replacing that. Like we've been saying all the time, oh, we're busy. As leaders, we're busy. More so productive. Just those filler words. So again, man, I thank each and every one of you that I could just be here. I know one of our last streams, I was quiet the whole time. And I remember Sister Renee reached out, was like, T.O., you okay? You was quiet. And it's just being honest, sometimes it's like Renee just said, it's the confirmation when you hear others say it that you know is waking up every day in persistence of being a better leader, in persistence of helping others, in persistence of serving, in persistence of saying, hey, woe is me. I screwed this one up and I got to go back to the drawing board and do it the right way, or at least make the attempt to do it the right way. But the things that Kevin said, integrity, man, you have nothing without integrity. You literally have nothing. If you're listening or if you're viewing us right now, you have nothing without integrity. Integrity is it, man. And I've seen missions go amazingly well. And then we came back to the drawing board, like Kevin said, the OODA loop cycle. It's a system. Mm-hmm. And we realized it was only successful because of the lack of integrity. And we all felt like failures in those moments. And mm-hmm. it could have been on the account of one individual. They cheated or they didn't, follow the course all the way in the manner in which they were supposed to. So now, just like you said, with a toddler, Sifu, we're all sitting there like, and we're supposed to be happy that we achieved a mission when we didn't have the fortitude to continue out the integrity of it. So that's rebar right there. When you're laying concrete, that concrete will not stand without the rebar. And a rebar takeaway, and I'll be quiet for the sake of time. The rebar aspect of it is integrity. Like my sister Renee said, man, it's the foundation. And it can look good on the surface. It can look good on social media. It can look good when you look in the bank account. But if the integrity is not rooted and truly not there, as a leader, when you look in the mirror, you know in your heart that it'll never be that victorious feeling without the truth of integrity. So very special.
Wow.
Very similar to a human being. Without the skeleton, we would fall down. We're just shoop.
So true, brother.
Yeah.
I'd like to, if I could, I'd like to add to that because Tio, I think you're absolutely right. Integrity is absolutely crucial because we have to have that inner soul, if you will, of why, what, and how that we're trying to do. At the same time, I will say that it is absolutely important, if you want to be an effective leader, that you have to cultivate. And what I mean by that is that you have to reach out to others who have different perspectives, different ideas, and you have to be able to talk with them. One of the things that I actually take some pride in is that I have a couple of friends who I'm wearing my peace sign, so you kind of know my political perspective. But I have some friends on the other side, and we talk on a regular basis. They have a different perspective than I do.
Right.
But it helps me to maintain my integrity. It helps me to understand why somebody has a different viewpoint. And you take that, so take it away from the politics and implant it, if you will, in trying to accomplish an objective. There's lots of perspectives on how to get something done. And we need to understand and embrace those and cultivate those relationships so that we understand, because it might help us to modify what we're trying to do.
Yes.
So, and I think that's really important. So I just wanted to add on to what you were describing so eloquently. I really agree with you.
Yes. And I'm so happy you said it, because that's something that is a plague across the board right now.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking to my wife again this morning about it. Like, some choose, the to politicize things in ways that it almost erodes the leadership aspect of it. So yeah, I'm glad you touched on that, man. That's a good topic, see, for moving forward. That's a
But
good topic.
I was going to say, and Kevin, and I mean, integrity is and Tia, what you were saying is so important. Kevin, I'm so glad that you brought that up. There's so many people that have forgotten that we need to be able to agree to disagree. We have
Yes.
we have to be able to learn from each other. And as you just said, Kevin, getting somebody else's perspective and understanding where they're coming from. And then we have to be able to learn. We have to learn. I have to say this. I think here in the United States, we do a really poor job of educating people on history in a lot of different ways. But we still have to understand that, each and every one of us has a history that we're bringing to the table, and we have something that helps us be who we are. And so I have different thoughts and you have different thoughts, and we can be in the same room and we can still be friends, but we can agree to disagree on how we see things. And you have that how you see things, but that doesn't mean that we have to influence our and push everybody to one way. Because if everybody was the same way, that's boring, and that's not right. That's it's like making everything in the world look pink, and you might not like pink, and you might like orange. So. But again, agree to disagree and understand that everybody has a perspective and nobody is absolutely correct.
Right. Yeah. And I love how integrity has shaped our conversation, because you can't lead without integrity. You can't have a voice without that. I mean, it's not sustainable, because if we're focused on performing for approval of someone else, what are we sacrificing for our soul? Eventually, that misalignment is going to be exposed. But when we choose and decide every day, what's my compass? What is my inner soul worth? What is it costing me when I don't speak up from a place of integrity and I don't share? It's not always going to be popular, but sometimes it needs to be said, just like Jaclyn said. And we haven't all agreed on everything, but I love the power of being able to have different perspectives and sharing them in a way that makes us all better and helps to transform what leadership looks like.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I teach integrity to kids, and I teach them. First, I ask them what it means. They have no idea. So I tell them it's doing the right thing even when no one's watching you. Yeah. And so because I teach it, sometimes the parents will come and tell me, my son or daughter did something and I would never have known about it, but they came and told me. And yes, they got in trouble for it. So they understand that they made a mistake. And sometimes integrity is also about admitting that you've done the wrong thing. And we forget, right? Because, hey, nobody saw me do that. Nobody saw me. And it's the same thing when so many times I've been driving on the road and there's a garbage can in the middle of the road. And I can do like all the other cars and go around it and keep going. But a lot of times I will pull over. I'll get out of my car. I'll take that garbage can off the middle of the road, put it on the side of the road, and then continue going. But I'm not doing it so somebody can clap for me. And I'm not telling you that now. What I did is I'm trying to do the right thing because it may help someone else.
Bro.
Yeah.
And that's where integrity falls in place. When we can learn to do it when we're alone, we can do it when it can affect other people.
Absolutely.
And so if we do it always, there's no question that I'm going to do it now.
Yeah, bro. That's it, man. That's special, bro. Like, and doesn't it feel good, you all? Just trying to exercise real integrity. Like, we've all lied before, every single one of us. Everyone has lied. Everyone has the whatever you want to call it. But when you grow as a leader and you get to that place, my sisters and my brothers, to where, like you just said, Sifu, it's the muscle of the heart memory, the muscle of the heart, the way you just know, man, the right thing is the right thing. And sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it stings a little bit. But when you wake up the next day with a new opportunity, like we said, failing forward. If we're going to fail forward, and keep rolling. Tuck your shoulder, roll and jump back up and get back in the warrior stance. But man, thank you all, man. Like I needed this today. And you could feel the unified leadership. You could really feel it, because everyone here, you are amazing leaders. And to be able to share this space with you all, it means something, man. This is not just a stream. It's just not a podcast. The words that have been said today, it is it. And if you're striving to be a leader out there, you all listen to the words that came out of the mouths of these amazing leaders today. And truly, thank you, Sifu, for curating this. Appreciate you, man.
I love to give everybody about 45 seconds to tell us how someone can connect with them, right? So we will, and we're not going to have your website across the bottom. So if you have a website, say it so we can understand it, right? So Renee, let's get you to go up first, my dear.
Okay. Leadership is not performing better. Most leaders don't have a capability problem. It's a voice problem, how you're showing up in those moments that matter. That's the work that I do. When you make that decision internally, when you decide who you are, what your purpose is, who you want to serve, and you choose and decide to show up authentically from that place, that shifts you from performing for approval for someone else to walking in alignment and showing up with influence. That's the shift that I help leaders make. I'm Renee Jackson-Smith, the founder of Soar to Win. You can reach me at soartowin.com. That's SOAR, the number 2, WIN.com. I would love to connect with you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Jaclyn, you're up.
So as we've been talking today, our voices really matter and how we influence others. And one of the biggest ways we can do that is deepening our relationships with other people. And that's relationship capital. And that's one of the things that I help people do as leaders. We gain clarity in who we are, what we're doing. We amplify our energy, we create action, and we have ways that we measure our performance. And in doing all of that, we are building the best relationships that extend beyond ourselves. And if you're looking to actually build your relationship capital, we want to connect. We want to help you clarify who you are, what you're doing, and who you want to be connecting with. I'm Jaclyn Strominger, and you can go to leaptoyoursuccess.com to connect with me. And it's spelled out. So it's leap, YOUR, success.com. Leaptoyoursuccess.com. Connect with me. I want to help you leap to your greatest success and build amazing relationship capital.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Jaclyn. Kevin.
So, thank you, Sifu. Well, I've already referred to the book that I just recently published called The Persistence Factor. I do have one other book that I'd like to just mention, which is Toto's Reflections, The Leadership Lessons from the Wizard of Oz. And the reason I wrote that book was I really felt that there are lots of lessons learned if you watch that movie in terms of leadership. And Toto was the one character that everybody listened to. And so it's important to recognize that you often have to have a different voice, but people will listen. So I do think that persistence is crucial for leadership, and it's crucial for you to be authentic and express your authenticity, and to also embrace uncertainty, because we are in an uncertain world, and that's really crucial. My name is Kevin Fickenscher, and I'll tell you how to spell it. It's Fickenscher, Fickenscher, Fickenscher. And you can reach me at Dr. Kevin, Dr. Kevin, at Creo, C-R-E-O, which means creative, Creo Strategic, STRATEGIC, Solutions, plural, creostrategicsolutions.com. And I would love to hear from you, and we can start a dialogue, and you can go to my website as well, which is Creo Strategic Solutions.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Thanks for the song, by the way. I really enjoyed that one. Coach Theo, you're up, my friend.
Man, I'm just grateful. You know, I pride on being an old soul. Like I feel like I'm an old soul. And I like old school type things. So to hear Wizard of Oz and Toto, and man, that's still one of my favorite to this day.
It is.
And you're absolutely correct. So many lessons that come from that, as well as the Diana Ross version and Michael Jackson, The Wiz. So many different lessons that came from that as well. And that's what it is for me. It's the light bulb lessons. I love lessons. I told a good colleague of mine yesterday, I said, man, I love learning lessons, bro. You know, whether it comes from a positive source, negative source, I just love the lessons. And I realize we don't have that much time left, you all. And tomorrow is not promised. It's really not. Last week, I got a phone call along with my wife about my father-in-law. One of his lungs collapsed. He had to be medevaced to the hospital down in Savannah, Georgia. We threw some clothes in a bag. We were down there in 4 hours. We spent the whole week with him. He was finally released this past Tuesday, and my wife is on her way back down right now to be with him. And last week, you know, as I told Brother Sifu, I wasn't thinking about unified leadership in that moment. I wasn't thinking about light bulb lessons in that moment. I wasn't thinking about business in that moment. I was thinking, what am I going to say to my wife if she loses her father right now? I had a speaking engagement out in California that I was supposed to speak at last Wednesday. It canceled it, but it was the reinforcement. It was the leadership of all of my buddies and friends that I've known, many great leaders for many years, that said to me, bro, those opportunities come a dime a dozen. Be there, be present in the moment, be present in mind, help your wife, you know, be there for the family, show your sons what's the most important. So I'm grateful because today at 8:30, I was able to sit with you all and be reinforced once again, to be reinforced that I'm moving in the right direction. I'm doing the right things. And as a coach, sometimes for all of us, who's coaching the coach? And I was coached this morning by each and every one of you. And I thank you. Lightbulblessons.com, unified leadership. It's real. And I just truly thank you all. Thank you for the prayers, Angeline. And we're still pushing forward. We're pushing forward. He's doing much better. We're going to keep praying. And we're praying that, hey, you know, no matter what, man, when the storms come, when the wheat gets flattened out, like Kevin said, hey, we still live to fight another day. So, man, I'm pumped. I'm excited. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much, Sifu, once again, brother.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the things that we have to all consider is where are we going with our lives, and do we matter? So that's one of the things I help people understand about their lives, that they are worthy. They are God's gift, if you will, whether you believe in God or not. You're here for a purpose. You're here for a reason. And I help people shape their communication styles. I help people shape their physical styles, if you will, your fitness, your mindset, everything else that happens in your life. you have a purpose. And that's what I do. I'm Sifu Rafael. I'm easy to find, sifurafael.com. It's SIFURAFAEL.com. Can't get easier than that. I'm easy to find. And if you ever want to have a conversation, I'm always open. I'm always available, because in life, God has given me a mission, and that's to help as many people as I can. And thank you all for being here today to help me with my mission. You didn't even know you were doing that today. Thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. Everybody who chimed in today, truly, truly grateful. Do us a favor, chime in on a regular basis. We're here every Friday at 8:30, unless something comes up like a family emergency or something of that nature. We may have to cancel that day. But and like I told Teal, family comes first.
That's right.
Nothing else ever come before family. So Jaclyn, you're not going on your trip because family comes first. We talked about that. So family is first, even if it's a little bit of a shocker, whatever it is, always consider you are worthy of more. Don't ever sell yourself short. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us today. Truly, truly appreciate you guys. If you want to hang out afterwards and we can have a chat, I'm around. Everybody, have a blessed and beautiful rest of your day. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Unified leadership.
Let's do it.
Unified leadership. Let's move. Let's lead. Let's ride. Unified leadership. Like the flame, turn it up loud. Remember the name.